Iowa. President Bush says Americans can start sending cell phones to Cuba, while his would-be successors are sending political signals about how they deal with Havana. Our State Department correspondent Zane Vergy has the story.
It was showy at the White House, but only a slight shift in U.S. policy toward Cuba.
We're going to change our regulations to allow Americans to send mobile phones to family members in Cuba.
That's the latest U.S. dare to Raul Castro to reform.
Raul's serious about his so-called reforms. He will allow these phones to reach the Cuban people.
The hope is that more dialing and texting will increase Cubans' freedom of expression and links to the outside world. Cuba experts say the old strategy of trying to isolate Cuba using trade and travel embargoes has been a failure. Castro remained in power, then passed the mantle to his brother Raul. Some say change is happening under Raul Castro. For the first time, he is allowing Cubans to buy cell phones and computers.
These things are important to Cubans, whether or not they can afford them. The fact that the government is hearing them and understands that these are their desires and their wishes and is acting on that is very important.
Cuba is galloping onto center stage on the campaign trail, with candidates targeting the key Cuban-American vote in Florida.
Over time, I would be willing to meet and talk very directly about what we expect from the Cuban regime.
Unconditional meeting with Raul Castro. These steps would send the worst possible signal to Cuba's dictators.
I believe that we should have full diplomatic engagement where appropriate.
Experts say the majority of Cuban Americans want travel and other restrictions eased, so tough talk may not guarantee votes.
The political parties are still, still believe in this myth that they have to sort of toe the hard line, and that's what the Cuban American community wants to hear, and I think that they're wrong.
There's a lot still to be worked out, especially if and where cell phones sent from the U.S. to Cuba will even work. Zane Vergy, CNN at the State Department.